What we're talking about here is what it takes to get to patient safety. Best practices, standard practices, minimization of variables on one side, and relationships on the other. A whole new methodology of looking at things. Not even a renaissance. A renaissance means you're reinstalling anew something that was there. We really haven't had it there to the extent that we need it. We need people on a level playing field. And let me tell you why this gets so personal with me. An aviation story, but I think it applies. From McChord Air Force Base in Tacoma, Washington, to Elmendorf Air Force Base in Anchorage, Alaska. It's about a 3.5-hour trip up there. I walk in. I'm now a lieutenant colonel, and I have a team of 11 people around the table. Now, I was taught back when I became an aircraft commander, a baby aircraft commander at age 25 during Vietnam, that what I needed to do was tell everybody who, what, where, when, how, and why. Now, all of a sudden, in the mid-'80s, we've begun to learn these things in aviation, and we are transferring them into the military. And I know that my most important task is to build a team, a collegial interactive team. I know that my most important task is to say to these people, forget this rank. We are all in this together. And the way I do that, the way I've been taught, I didn't think it up, is to come in, shake everybody's hand, all around the table, look them in the eye, call them by first name, and essentially get rid of the hierarchy. And then do the regular briefing, and then step back and say, you know, folks, you are my eyes and my ears. I am a very good aircraft commander, but I am a human being, and I cannot be perpetually perfect. I can be perfect for a while, but I don't have the right to say, you got to risk your life that my perfection is going to continue. I could make a mistake, and it could be a doozy. And if you don't catch it, because I haven't formed you into a team in which there are no barriers to communication, we could come to grief. Later on in the 90s, I learned to have some fun. I used to say, your aircraft commander, someplace on this 12-day trip, is going to make a mistake that will kill us if you don't catch it. You should see them run for the phones. Cruise kid, get me off this trip. This guy's nuts. But this particular day in '87, I didn't do that. And I had a bit of a challenge because as I'm going around the table, I know I've got one guy who's brand new. He's 18 years old. He's in a factory-fresh flight suit with factory creases and no insignia. He's an airman basic. And when I shake his hand, it's deer in the headlights time. I think in Indiana they still call that the Dan Quayle look. He wants me to talk to anybody else but him. And so I make a point after we've broken up and going out to the airplane, I bring him up on the flight deck, put a headset on him, sit him down on the bench seat and say, you're going to ride with us up here, not only because you're brand new to the squadron, and I want you to get familiar with it, but I said, I need to go over this with you again. I went over that same spiel. And he nodded in all the right places, just like he had before, but I'm still not convinced. I figured this is the least likely guy to speak up if he sees something. And for some reason, it just became a holy grail to me. And I sat down next to him and said, look, let me make this as clear as I can. I do not want to go out and punch holes in the sky and commit an act of aviation with you aboard unless I am sure down to my bone marrow that you're going to speak up if there's anything that you feel needs to be said. If you see, hear, feel, or even without foundation intuit it, will you accept that responsibility on a co-equal basis? And he kind of grinned. He said, well, I'm told I'm Generation X, sir, so if you give me permission, I will. I said, it's not permission, man. That's your job. He says, yes, sir. So we blast off. It's a clear blue sky day. This is a powerful airplane. We don't have any cargo. It's just gas and us. And as we're climbing, we're clear to 17,000 feet. We're coming through 14,100, aimed towards Seattle, coming out of Tacoma. And I hear a click on my headset, and this timorous little voice, just so intimidated, says, pilot, loadmaster, 14,200, 14,300. And I recognize it's my new guy. And I'm thinking, hey, he listened. I don't know what he's going to say, but hey, speaking up, that's great. Yeah, load, go ahead. This is the pilot, 14,400, 14,500. I got 30 passengers in the back. I've got a guy sitting in the right seat who I flew through Vietnam with. He's unflappable. If a wing came off, he'd order coffee on the way down. For 14,500, the kid hadn't spoken up again. Finally, at 14,600, he comes back and he says, sir, 14,700, I could have sworn they only cleared us to 15,000 feet. I look at my co-pilot, he's all over it. Seattle Mach 50235, we're cleared to 17,000, 17,000, roger. 14,800, 14,900, 14,950. Finally, the controller's voice comes back. Negative, Mac, you're cleared to 15. Good Lord, pull the power back, push the airplane over 0G. Everybody out in the back. I got 30 floaters in the back thinking, I guess I'm dead. I'm sneaking her back to 15,000 feet. The heart rate's off the chart. Blood pressure is too. And I'm trying to think of where I can buy this kid the biggest steak in Anchorage. I'll never tell you what we really bought him. At any rate, I'm looking over at my co-pilot, who is looking all of a sudden very ill and very white, and I can't figure out why. Time is dilated here. So a second feels like a minute, and I follow his gaze and understand exactly why. He's looking at the belly of a Boeing 747-200 owned by Northwest Orient. He's coming in from Tokyo with 336 innocent people in the back. I called and checked later. He's at 16,000 feet. He's right over me. No question. We looked at the tracks later. We would have climbed right into his belly. We would have all come apart, rained passengers and parts all over South Seattle. I wouldn't be standing here. But is the message only aviation? See, the message is universal. When you can invigorate the least among us, when you can get that voice that would not normally ever be allowed to speak up, either allow themselves or be allowed, when you can create a team in which every human brain has an absolute direct wire to everyone else, and the leader takes pride in saying, I may not be perfect, but boy, I can put a team together that approaches absolute perfection. That is the Holy Grail. That's what's going to get us there. That's what's going to take all the intermediate fine things that you have learned to do and that you're doing, and all the bundles and the procedures and the minimization of variables, and get us to zero. Thank you all very much.